I've always just been fascinated with helping people. So my background, believe it or not, was in sports science. So I was a personal trainer for many years. Yeah, I used to wear lycra and jump up and down and teach aerobics. But it didn't take me very long to realize so many people were joining a gym and they'd not come. So then I got into nutrition and thought, well, maybe that's the answer, to help, because most people wanted to lose weight who were joining a gym. But then I realized, no, there was more. And then I studied psychology, specifically sports psychology. And then I started working with people with their mind, because I believe really that is the key to most things. And I've been extremely lucky to work with people from all different walks of life, from high-flying business executives to world and Olympic champions, just to everyday people, just like you and me. Interesting for me because I was very self-conscious, and I think one of the reasons why I like to entertain people is for years I wanted people to like me. Because of my deep-seated insecurity of feeling that I wasn't good enough. And I never forget, I got coached myself for many years by someone who helped me so much. And he once said to me, listen, human beings are just flawed. We're not perfect, So as much as I have a big nose and big feet and a bald head and even ear hair, physically I'm not perfect. So, mentally, I'm not perfect either. It's part of being a human being. And when I kind of started to realize that, I started to not take myself so seriously and probably become much more effective in what I'm doing, because I think people tend to change, not when you tell them what to do, but when people have a different perspective of things, when they go, oh, I've never thought of it like that. Because I believe that people need to take ownership of their process of change, for people to become the best version of themselves that they can be. Well, definitely the best. I say I laugh because every time I think about it, it kind of makes me smile. I spent 2 years of my life working with Ronnie O'Sullivan, and that was fascinating to me because it was an interesting story. Someone who was looking after him, he was struggling, and they contacted TalkSport, and they said, do you know someone who could help Ronnie? And they contacted me because regularly I've been on TalkSport as an expert in sports psychology, and I went to go and meet Ronnie, and we met at the Ritz, and they wouldn't let him in because he was wearing jeans. And then we went across the road and we sat and we just spoke, and I just let him talk. I didn't really say anything, but he obviously felt comfortable. And then he came to my house in West Sussex in Washington, and he stayed for 3 days. Right, and he was only going to come for a couple of hours. He stayed for 3 days, and I really got to know him very well. But I remember one of the things we did is I made him watch a couple of hours, not a couple of hours, maybe 5 hours of Michael Jordan videos. Michael Jordan is kind of like my hero, even though I've never watched him play, or I'm not really into basketball. But I believe success always leaves clues, and there's a lot of similarities between Ronnie and Michael Jordan. I mean, extremely talented. But talent is only going to get you so far. So I spent 2 years working with him, and immediately he won 3 tournaments back to back, which he'd never done before, which was awesome. But then he lost in the first round of the World Championships. He lost to Marco Fu. He did make a 147, but then he disappeared. He disappeared for 2 or 3 months doing what Ronnie used to do. And then he came back, we started working together, and then he won the World Championships for the second time, and that was awesome. Just being a part of someone's journey, that was one of the best. When you work with a sports person, it's always interesting because of all the years of working with people, I think there's only been 1 or 2 people that have ever contacted me when things are going really well. So I can think of one lady, Anna Hemmings, who was a world champion marathon canoeist. She phoned me up a couple of times and said, you know what, Pete, things are going really, really well. Can we explore about how we can make things better? So in answer to your question, most people come to me because they got a problem, and they want to get out of that problem. And most people, like, for example, there's a team of us, we worked with Tim Henman in 1998, and he got to the semi-final of Wimbledon for the first time. Then we never saw him again after that. So for lots of people, their driver is the fact that they're uncomfortable, they're in pain, and they want to move away from it. But once they get comfortable again, they get comfortable again until they get uncomfortable. So I'm always looking with athletes, what's holding them back? What is their thinking? And often it's very simple. It's how they're talking to themselves. My goal is to inspire people to be better than their best every single day and to help them remove the obstacles. And one of the biggest obstacles that human beings have is the voice in their head. Some people call it a monkey. I call it a duck. I'm pretty well known for people giving me ducks or people telling me that I've helped them exterminate their duck. It's the quacking, it's the mental interference, it's the stories you're telling yourself of I can't do this, or I've prayed this person before, it's not going to work, I'm not good enough. I mean, even Usain Bolt in the documentary that's just come out, he says that every year he would still say to himself, I wonder if I've still got it. I wonder if I can still run fast. And you think, hang on a second, fastest man in the world is still asking himself that sort of question. So everyone thinks negatively. It's what you do with that negativity. You can either let it inspire you, or you can let it make you a victim and never really go anywhere in life. Well, I suppose it's always the same. It's like there's a problem, let's find a solution. That's what I'm known for. Is people would come to me with pretty much any problem, let's find a solution. And with the work with corporates, again, really fortunate that often with the work you do with a company, you often get a chance to see what's kind of going on and what some of the issues and challenges that people have around engagement, around focus, around people going the extra mile in what they do. I've been really lucky to work with corporates where you get to see where their issues are and then look to try and find a solution. Working with corporates is always challenging because sometimes they're more interested in the bottom line than actually interested in people. And that's what I'm interested in, people, the emotional intelligence of people, making people feel valued and supported. Because when you do that, people tend to go the extra mile and use the potential that every human being has. I'm fascinated by leadership. I think it's that's something I've been working on a lot recently. I remember reading in a book by Napoleon Hill that was written in 1937, where he interviewed 500 of the most successful people of the early part of last century. And there was a thing that really struck out at me, which was the era of the go-getter is gone. It's the era of the go-giver. And he wrote that in 1937. Now, it might have taken years and years and years for people to catch on to that subject, that we've got to inspire leaders to inspire people. So anything to do with inspiration, motivation, confidence, wellness is something I'm fascinated with, because we spoke earlier, this whole concept of, people say, are you a motivational speaker? It's like, oh, okay, what does that mean? Even when I hear that now, I still think, well, I'm an American. I got to come on and go, yay, let's go. Give me 5. Whoa, yeah. And, that can work, but motivation doesn't work. This is the whole, I like to call myself an inspirational speaker because my background is in psychology. So when you understand what motivation really is, you understand motivation doesn't work because people are only motivated to do the things they enjoy doing, because the brain is always trying to protect you. So if an organization, they're asking people, organizations still don't get this, but they need to get it. If you ask anyone to change in a business, people say that, oh, it's the fact that we've had so much change and nothing ever really changes. That is a factor, but it's more the fact that you're asking people to do something that maybe they're not comfortable doing. So immediately their defenses will come up. So yeah, motivation doesn't really work. We have to go around motivation. We have to light the fire inside someone, which makes them realize, if I do this, it's going to make a difference. It's the what's with him, what's in it for me. The word success to me means enjoying what you do. And I was actually reading a thing about leadership recently, actually listening to it this morning. And when you look at John Maxwell's work, who's written the book 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and he talks about the greatest success in life of a leader or anyone is loving what you do. And if you don't love what you do, then you're never going to put your heart and soul into it. So teaching people how to love what they do is a real key. Well, definitely one of the key messages is always about, the duck in your head. I mean, I've talked all over the world where companies have actually bought ducks for everyone. And, it might seem a bit kind of childish, if you like, but the duck is a symbol of what you're saying to yourself. And, what is the biggest obstacle? Well, it's you. It's what you're saying to yourself. And what we've often done is the duck, people have given their duck an actual name and they put it on their desk because that voice is in your head. You say, what am I saying? Like, when you wake up in the morning and the alarm goes off, what actually got you out of bed? It was probably pain, actually. You probably had to press the snooze button 3 or 4 times because you wanted this, the voice in your head, the duck was going, just stay in bed. But eventually your bladder started to hurt you because you needed the toilet, and it was often pain that got you out of your bed. It's often that duck that tells you not to make that extra phone call, or the duck that said, cut corners. Once you can start to see what it is that you're saying to yourself, the power comes back to you. That duck in your head is, in many cases, it's actually trying to help you. It doesn't want you to fail. It doesn't want you to often stand out. But it just does what it thinks is best. And that's often one of the biggest takeaways. But I suppose the other big takeaway is that you have what it takes. Every human being has what it takes to make more of a difference. But it's just a question of getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. That really is the key.